Hi everybody, how are we doing today? Today we're going to practice Sun Salutation B, and I just want to talk about two things. Chaturanga is part of the sequence. I do not jump back, I always step back, so that's what I'll be instructing. I used to jump back and I didn't hurt myself, but in teacher training I realized that I wasn't doing it correctly and I was definitely doing it in a way that would place strain on my shoulders. So I've kind of slowed down my practice a little bit because of that, and I'm still at a point where I just step back. Also, with upper facing dog, I will walk you through it in the first sequence, but I have lower back sensitivities, so I personally substitute cobra when I do this sun salutation. You can continue through as we do it more than once with upward facing dog, but I don't want you to be confused when you see that I'm not also doing upward facing dog, and I will explain the differences. So let's go ahead and get started. We always want to get grounded first, kind of notice where we are before we start our practice. So root through your feet. The 4 points of your feet are the big toe ball mound, the pinky toe ball mound, and the inner and outer side of your heel. It's where you find your center balance. It's the way we're made, the way our bones stack in our body. I tend to lift all 10 toes to help find that center, because I want to make sure that in my balance I'm not gripping the mat with my toes trying to be stable. It's using those 4 corners of your feet. Lift your knees up the front and down the back, helping you engage your legs. This is an active pose. Placing your hands on your hips if you need to find that neutral position with your pelvis. As you breathe down into your feet, feel the energy rise up and help you lift your torso up and light, bringing the lower rib points stacking above your hips. Go ahead, as my mom always told me, pull your shoulders back. You don't want to strain, but you're trying to stack your shoulders over your hips. In this day of texting, a lot of us may have a habit of looking down, so our necks might be forward. So in standing just still in mountain pose, think about having your ears over your shoulders. So not forward, not backward, over your shoulders. And then take a breath and stay engaged but relaxed into the pose. Go ahead and close your eyes. Notice how you're feeling today. Are you tired? Do you have a lot of energy to get out? Any aches or pains? Are you feeling good? Just notice, no judgment. Our intention for this practice through this sun salutation is just I am. Try to be present in the moment. If you're struggling with a pose, just remember I am. That's all that matters. On an inhale, we're going to go to chair pose. Lower your hips, keeping your knees stacked over your ankles. Go ahead and stick your butt out. You're engaging your thighs. And then on an inhale, lift your arms up. If it's too much for you to have your arms out as your breathing is labored, go ahead. Bring your arms, your hands together and bring them to your chest. It's a good alternative. But you don't want to have labored breathing while you're doing yoga. It kind of tells you you've reached your limit. That's why your breath is important to pay attention to. On an exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, bringing your hips to the sky. Allow your hips to kind of lead your legs. So it's not about pressing your knees back, it's about letting your hips come up to the sky. You can rest your stomach on your thighs. It's okay to have your knees bent if you have tight hamstrings. It's okay to have your hands on your shins if you're tight. Don't force it. Again, pay attention to your breath. If it becomes labored, if your heart's racing, you just pay attention to your body. On an inhale, lift your back parallel to the floor and your chest forward. Hands pointing down to the ground or on your shins. On an exhale, plank your hands, step your feet back to a high plank. Exhale, lower to chaturanga, making sure that your shoulders do not go below your elbows. On an inhale, flip your feet, bring your chest forward and your shoulders back into upward facing dog. Only the tops of your feet are touching on the mat here. On an exhale, engage your stomach, roll over the tips of your toes, come to downward facing dog, pressing through your hands, your fingertips, your thumbs, rotating your arms so that they're rolling outwards and your armpits are flat to the ground if you can get there. And just relax your shoulder blades down your back. Once you're there, then you can focus on bringing your heels to the mat. It's not important, but that's your stretch. You can also kind of bend your knees here. Get settled into the position. Again, you're not pushing your knees back. You're lifting your hip bones up to lengthen the back of your legs. On an inhale, bring your knee to your nose. Press with the back leg to bring your right foot forward. Rotate your left heel to the ground. Go ahead and bring your hands to your thighs and help you come up to warrior one. So your back foot here, you want your toes pointing to 10 and 11 o'clock on the clock. You want to be pressing through the outer edge of your back foot. Make sure your hip, knees, and ankles are lined up. Don't worry about squaring your hips forward. Your right knee stacks over your ankle. And if you can go a little further, it's okay. And then the next step would inhale, bring your hands up. Again, it's the same external rotation as in downward dog. Your hands can come together or be apart. On an exhale, plant your hands down around your foot, chaturanga again. Inhale to upward facing dog, or cobra like myself. Exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead and press through your hands and your feet. Take an inhale. On an exhale, step your left foot forward between your hands. Rotate your right heel to the ground, pressing through the outer edge of your right foot. Bring your hands to your thighs. Go ahead and come up. And I'll try to stop saying go ahead. That's my thing. Inhale, bring your hands up and around your arms. Same motion. Don't worry about squaring your hips. You want to protect your back. Make sure your knees, ankles, and hips are in a line. On an exhale, plant your hands to the ground. Chaturanga. You can place your knees to the ground for chaturanga if need be. On an inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, we're going to take a couple breaths here. You want to try to distribute the weight between your hands and your feet. And I find the easiest way to do that is kind of engage, same as when you're standing. Bring your knees up your front of your thighs and down the back so that your legs are engaged. And you'll notice how the weight's distributed and you're able to lower a little bit better and distribute the weight between your hands and your feet. On an exhale, step forward between your hands. Come to flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Take a moment to relax here. We need a lot of forward folds in society. Helps get the stress. They're stress relieving poses. Make sure when you're breathing all the way in through your belly. When you exhale, you bring your belly to your spine, so it's a full breath. On an inhale, we're coming to chair pose. Go ahead and bring your butt down so that you're in a squat. Your knees should be over, you should be able to see your toes when you look down. On an inhale, rise up, hands to heart center. We'll go through that 2 more times. On an inhale, raise your hands up. Exhale, squat to chair pose. On an exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come to flat back. Exhale, step both feet back to a high plank, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lift your hips to downward facing dog. On an inhale, bring your right foot forward, plant your left foot back, push through the outer edge of your back foot, come up. In Warrior One, it's okay if your knee is not, if you don't have a 90-degree angle here. As you feel rooted in your back leg, you can come down a little bit more, but make sure you're rooted through both feet. On an exhale, plant your hands around your right foot. Go ahead and step back to chaturanga. Inhale to cobra. And when you're in cobra, think about squeezing the back of your armpits. That helps you bring your shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Again, notice how you're feeling. Is your heart rate picking up? Is your body warming up? Do you feel sensations in any particular parts of your body? Your wrists, your hands, your ankles. Inhale. On an exhale, bring your left foot forward between your legs. Plant your back foot. Once you feel rooted, inhale, come up, bringing your arms so that they run next to your ears, bringing your shoulders down so that there's space between your ears and your arms. Again, if you need to look back and see that your heel, ankle, and hip are lined up, and then bring your torso forward. On an exhale, take your hand around your front foot, come back to high plank, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, or upward facing dog if that's what you're doing. Exhale, downward facing dog. This can be a very difficult pose, even though in yoga it's considered a resting pose. But it takes a lot of attention. You have to notice your fingers and thumbs pressing into the ground, your outer arms rotating out, relaxing your shoulders, and then engaging your legs so that you can bring more of the weight distributed to your feet. On an inhale, look forward between your hands, step forward, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your belly to your thigh. You want to make sure that the belly to the thigh cue is so that you are hinging at your hips and not using your lower back to get the bend. So you want to make sure that, so if that creates a bend in your knee, that's okay. On an inhale, chair pose, lower your butt, bring your hands up. Make sure you see your toes. On an exhale, stand up straight. For the third time, we're going to go through it a little bit faster. I prefer a slower flow, so not particularly fast, but go through it with a little less instruction for me. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half back. Exhale, step back to high plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands, plant your foot. Rise up. Exhale, plant your hand around your feet, step back, plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Rotate and ground the back foot. Rise up. Exhale, hands down. High plank, chaturanga. Cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm going to take a couple breaths here. Inhale, look up between your legs, step forward, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Take a deep breath in, let that deep breath out. Your next inhale, bend your knees, come up to chair pose. Exhale, rise up, hands to heart center. Thanks again for joining me through a sun salutation. They're always good to get your body warmed up. You can do them just the sun salutation for the day to get warmed up. A lot of times in yoga classes you'll do them several times to get your body warmed up and get you in a flow. You should notice the effect if you kind of just stand and pay attention. Your body feels warmer. Your heart rate might be up a little bit. Hopefully your breathing isn't labored. But if it is, that's okay. It's okay. It just kind of makes you aware of where you are. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you have an awesome day.